about websites, which aren't technically social media, but are social media, and they're very important in terms of FRC tools. So we did cover that a little bit. So what will we be covering today? Today, we will be covering the concept of ideal time, why are tools important, hosting multiple links, post schedulers, hashtag tips, built-in analytics, and then additional tools. So I'll just be covering a couple of tools that Team Dave has used in the past, as well as some other teams, or we are planning to use in the future. So to start, the concept of ideal time. Sorry, I just have to rearrange my screen a little bit. So what is the ideal time? So the ideal time is when you should post on X, so whatever social media, to achieve the greatest engagement and visibility. However, this doesn't really exist anymore. This was kind of botched by changing algorithms for each social media, as well as COVID. So for Instagram, the ideal time for Instagram used to be about like 11 a.m. or 12 a.m., 12 p.m., or about like 5 p.m., 6 p.m. So basically lunchtime or dinner time, because that is when people will be checking their phones. That is when they'd be on them and scrolling through the social medias. However, COVID and the Instagram algorithm have basically canceled that out. So the new Instagram algorithm doesn't really go chronologically like it used to. It just kind of pops things up whenever it wants. There's probably a little bit more to that, but that is the way I take it. And then with COVID, there is no like proper lunchtime or dinner time for anybody. Like it's a lot more different with work from home and learning from home. So now it is about more of a window. So it's from like about 12 to 6, that's the ideal posting time for any sort of Instagram post, reel, story, or anything like that. And then for Facebook, there never really was an ideal time. Facebook's posts on Facebook as well are no longer on a timeline basis, and people don't really go to Facebook right away during that lunch or dinner. They check it varyingly throughout the day. So ideally, you want to be posting it towards the end of the workday or like early in the morning, not really during that lunchtime period. And then Twitter. So Twitter is in timeline form. So the newest and most recent tweets pop up first. However, I can't really say for sure that there has ever been an ideal time, because Twitter is a lot like Instagram or a lot like Facebook, where people check it varyingly throughout the day. So it just depends on how it works out. So posts for all these platforms also depend on how the people who follow you, like who they follow and how many people they follow, and how many times those people post. So it depends. It relies a lot on that for when it might pop up on their timeline, specifically for Instagram and for Facebook. But one thing I recommend when it comes to ideal time is although that ideal time doesn't exist, you want to try and set a specific time for your team when you guys publish posts. So try and keep it consistent that you're always posting between these hours and these hours, so people can get used to it popping up around that time, and they might start checking for it if they're expecting a post from you or not. It's just good consistency, and it's a good way to work around that. So why are tools and post-it important? I can speak today. So what is a tool first off? So if you look at the dictionary, a tool is a device or implement, especially one held in the hand or used to carry out a particular function. So social media tools are very similar to physical tools in that they are designed to help make the user's life easier. So think about a physical tool, you're using a wrench. The idea you're using the wrench is because you want to get some sort of bolt or out, but you can't do it with your hands. So a social media tool is kind of like that wrench, in which it's just making your life easier in that aspect. And then there are a variety of tools available to suit most needs for social media users. There are obviously going to be some where there just hasn't been something created yet, so that creates an opportunity for you to create one, or it doesn't. And then not all tools work for every single social media, so not everything that works for Facebook will work for Instagram and vice versa, but there are a lot that are universal. So tools come in the forms of add-ons, they come in the form of applications, or there are also built-in tools. So let's talk about hosting multiple links. So think about the phrase, check out the link in our bio. So you'll see this a lot if you're watching a TikTok or a video, or it'll be in a bio for a post. So what a hosting multiple link host can do, it helps create a link between social media accounts. So for example, here we have an example of what Linktree is. So it is something that you can use. There are a couple others out there, however, this is just what Team Dave uses. So this is one we have posted on our Instagram. So it links to our Twitter, it links to our Facebook, it links to our website, it links to our Chairman's Video 2020 and our information video as well. So it's just that quick access for if you want someone to go from your Instagram to your YouTube because you talk about YouTube, it's just right there. It's also a great tool for linking supplementary information. So what that means is if you're creating a post about being a donor or mental health awareness, we can put a comment in your description being like, check out the resources in our bio. And then it's super easy for them to just go there and then go out and check it out as well. It also allows you to have more information linked to your accounts. So previously, thinking about Instagram, you could only really have one link in your bio. So you'd have to switch it out every single time you want to reference something new in a post. So this could cause confusion if someone sees an older post or if you forget to swap it. It also does help clean up your bio. So there's no more need to put information about other accounts that people would have to search up. It's just a quick click with their fingertips, which is super, super helpful. So people used to post their like Instagram handles, they used to post their Twitter handles or Facebook, anything like that. And now it's just a quick press of a button. Oh, I have this access, super easy. So we recommend Linktree. There are other options out there as well, but this one is free and it is super user-friendly, super easy. You can choose a color. We use green because obviously Team David's green. You can have your background be whatever you need. You can have that photo. So it's just looking at whatever you need. Another thing you can use is post schedule, or use potentially is post schedule schedulers. So think about how often you forget to post on a certain day or at that ideal time or whatever your team has set up. I'll be honest, Team Dave frequently can forget, oh shoot, we wanted this post out, so we will post it later than we mean to, or we'll wait an extra day. So we will be potentially putting one of these through. It just helps organize posts ahead of time, allowing for that easy prep. So this is helpful in that if you're planning a campaign, you can get an overview of what you have planned and it can just put those posts out for you. It can work. Actually, I'll talk about this in a second. It also doesn't put pressure on one person to keep track of when they need to post or what to post, because it can be a lot of pressure. As a team that can only have their mentors physically with the access to the passwords for the accounts, it's a lot to put on the mentors to be like, okay, you have to remember to post this at a certain time, or if these are the photos you want to use, or you might lose track of the photos at some point. So it does help reduce that a little bit. And then depending on the application you use, it can allow you to create cross-media posts easier. So some schedulers will allow you to schedule for Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at the same time. And then it helps plan each post to the best capability with less miscommunication. And thinking back to what we had last week with the last basics of social media, we talked about what's the best for each social media. So this will help you also work with that as well. It also gives multiple people access without sharing the actual passwords. So again, Team Dave is one of those teams where our school board does not allow our students to have direct access to social media just for privacy and security concerns. So it does allow the kids to still put together those posts and put them out and have them generated and pop up without actually having the passwords. Unfortunately, you can't really work on it at the same time as other people like you can with a Google Doc, but it does give more people access, which can help. So some examples here that we have are buffer.com, Post Planner, Hootsuite, and TweetDeck. So TweetDeck is for Twitter specifically as well. Facebook does have a scheduler built into itself. but these are just a couple options. They have their pros and cons. So just figure out what works best for your team. They might have some limited if they're paid. It does vary. And then they also could have additional features such as analytics, tips to finding other posts you can put out into social media. And then you can see what other people are looking at when they're looking at similar content to yours. And it just helps create that a little bit. So next up are built-in analytics. So insights and analytics are the same thing. It just depends on what platform you're looking at. So I believe it's called Insights on Instagram, but then on Facebook, it is called Analytics, and on Twitter, it's called Analytics. So it's just depending on that. So what does this do? So it helps you track how a post does and how your page is doing. So it looks at the reach, so how many people has it interacted with, the engagement, have people liked it, how many people have commented, so on and so forth. And then also the results. So did this cause you to lose followers? Did it cause you to gain followers? Did it take more people to look at your page? So what actually happened with those posts? So I'm going to talk about Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. I'm not going to go too into depth because it does vary team to team on what you're looking at, but I'll just go a little bit into it. So why is this helpful? So with Facebook in particular, you want to revisit the insights, the analytics after a campaign to see if this hindered and helped. Did this actually reach your intended audience? So here you can see it's reached 60% of the people, or it's reached X amount of numbers. And then how do people actually react to the post? And then you kind of want to do monthly check-ins with your social media to adjust how much you want to focus on this media. So do you need to put in more time and more efforts to increase engagement? This applies to all platforms, not just Facebook. And then is this something you actually want to be pulling? Is it actually pulling the audience you want is a big thing as well. So when it comes to Facebook, what is important to look at? So Facebook allows you to look at a variety of times. So you want to make sure that your time range is what you want. So there's a big difference when you're looking at numbers from the past week versus the past month. And then when it comes to Facebook specifically, the percentage can be more helpful than the numbers. So percentage shows you an increase or decrease in the followers or in the interactions. And then the numbers can be a little bit confusing if you have nothing to compare it to. Then again, it also can depend if you are looking from post to post. And then there's the big thing of post engagement versus page engagement. So here on Facebook, you have an example. It gives you a large variety of analytics to look at. And you can see specific posts. So on Facebook, it is on the same thing. So it is all in one area. And then moving on to Instagram. So Instagram here, I have an example of what it looks like for a post and what it looks like for the page. So why is it helpful? So for Instagram specifically, it can help you figure out if a post is better for Instagram stories or Instagram posts. So this is more so reacting to or thinking about if you do those holiday posts. Are you posting on Mother's Day, Christmas, Father's Day, Halloween? What's the engagement like compared to other posts? Did it get more or less? Will that decide or make a difference of next year? Are you going to do this on stories instead of a post? Because it just kind of clogs up your feed. And then it's the same thing for like if you do awareness posts as well. Are those something you want to post in your Instagram feed or your Instagram story and then save it as a highlight? And then what's important and then you want to compare posts to each other as well. So it is helpful specifically in those campaign posts, those series posts. So you want to look at, is one post doing better than the other? What's the reason? Is it maybe the person that's in or the thing that's highlighting for that one particular post? Did you maybe have less of a description? So that's really helpful in that case because it can help you compare and see what to do better next time. And then so what's important to look like? So same thing as Facebook. When it comes to Instagram, you can look at a variety of days for your total page. So you really want to make sure you're looking at the correct amount of days there. You want to compare like 30 days or more or less or more than that. It depends. And then the post engagement and the page engagement is very different. So for post engagement, it helps you figure out what works, what doesn't. So here you can say it reached 438 people. However, you only got 4 likes. So that's actually pretty good. That's about 25, a little under 25%, but it got no comments. It did get a share. So that share is, did someone share it with their friend? Did someone send it to their story so that other people could see it? And the save is important as well because someone saved it for future reference. They want to go back to that post. And then the profile visits is how many times did that take you to your profile? Did someone see your post and decide to go check out your entire profile? That's really important as well. So those are those follower reactions. And then with your page, you can see how many accounts your page reach. Is that more or less how many people interact with your content in various ways? And then overall your audience, did you lose a follower, gain followers? And then there's a little bit more there as well. So really do take that time to look through those insights. Next up is Twitter. So Twitter, again, we have a specific tweet analytics and then we have specific account. So why is it helpful? So Twitter is very good in that it will give you a overall view of your engagement. So it'll show you the last 28 days in that top row. But if you scroll down, you will also see the last month to month, which is super good to know because that can help you figure out what you should be doing from every month. So should you be more active, less active, what helps, what doesn't? It'll show you who your top follower was that month. It'll show you what your best tweet was that month. Twitter Analytics is actually one of the best that I have seen in what it shows and how it compares. And then, so what is important to look at with this? So again, you've got the post engagement versus overall engagement. They go very detailed with Twitter. So it's depending on what is included in the post. Here we have retweets, media engagement. So how many times did people access those photos, likes? But if you're not including a photo, if you're putting something else, it'll show you that. So it's a very active in what is included in that tweet. And then the big thing is as well, the month-to-month data changes. So it's super easy to see month to month how you reacted, and it's just a better, clearer way to get those pictures. And then the engagement rate is also a big thing because it is important. It shows overall how is tweet received, how's anything received, which is the big goal for social media is you want to have the highest engagement possible. And then lastly is Facebook. So here we have one video analytic from when it was a live stream and one from when it was posted afterwards. So if you're someone that posts on Insta or YouTube very often, then this is very helpful if you're doing live streams. So it gives you the breakdowns of how your videos do normally and then how they do when they're live stream. So right now we are live streamed. So this was helpful in the case of WWFRO because we can see how many people engaged with the live stream. And then it also lets you know if people are coming back to videos. So are people coming back to watch these series a week later, a month later? Are they going to be watching these in a year? So this is very important because you will kind of want to know at what point do people stop watching your video. Do they watch the video for the full thing or only the half the video? Are they watching this years and years later? Are they still interested in the content? Because it's not something you're thinking about at that. You're not thinking about how long people are going to be watching your videos in terms of like time-wise, if they're going to watch like for another in a month. But it does help when you're putting it because it justifies the amount of effort you're putting in. And then you always want to know at what point do people stop watching your videos because it helps you figure out how do we gain them, how do we keep their attention. And then the biggest thing as well is, did it gain you a subscriber? So this will show you if you gained a subscriber after this, because this is going to be someone who's going to come back and watch more of your videos, or they want to get access to those videos. And it's the same thing as well with engagement. If you're gaining followers after each post, that is the ideal. You don't want to be losing them. So some other built-in tools you have with everything is on Facebook, you have the messenger reply bot. So it presets answers for your Facebook. So you want to think of this as an away message. So you want to have something like someone will get back to you shortly, or if no one gets back to you, you can contact this email. It's if in those off chances that you do get those messages on Facebook being like, hey, we want to talk to you about this outreach opportunity, or hey, we want to work with you on something, and you just happen not to see it. So it does help. And with Instagram, I kind of want to go into Reels and IGTV because they are built-in tools to help. So Reels are similar to TikTok videos. So it is stuff that is, you want to keep short, easy digestible content and information. And then this is also something that'll pop up on the regular feed occasionally and also on a separate Reels feed. And it does have that 60-second time limit. And then Instagram TV is a tool because it allows you to post longer videos. So you have to think about what you want to post. Is it going to be similar to what you're posting on YouTube or a little less formal? But you still do want to keep it consistent in terms of content, keep it consistent in terms of quality and all that as well. And then a big thing with Instagram TV, just as I didn't mention last week, is that it is prioritized in the algorithm. So it's more likely to pop up on an Instagram feed. So those are just some things I didn't have a chance to properly go into last week. And then I know we are slightly going a little over time, so I'll just kind of hurry it up a little bit. So a big tool for social engagement is actually hashtags. So hashtags can be used on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. So you want to think about those popular hashtags. So hashtag TBT, hashtag first game changers, hashtag first inspires. So why are these hashtags actually important? So it connects your content with similar content. So that is the reason that we have those first inspires, first game changers, because that is why FRC FIRST likes to create certain hashtags for each game, because it connects all the points from the all the posts from that season to one another. So you can click on it and see similar things. And it's also useful with campaigns. So to my knowledge, I believe 2702 has done it before. So it connects all of their posts or what other people are posting about their contests or campaigns or contests together, so that it just brings it all into one nice little circle of connectivity. And then it brings in new consumers for your media as well. So if you think about it, on Instagram or on Facebook or Twitter, people can follow certain hashtags. So those posts will be popping up in your feed. So if you're going to see it, you might get a like from someone that might not be a follower, but they like that post. Or they can follow through onto your page and then potentially follow you as well. It also gives it more likelihood for Instagram to pop up on that explore page, so it can get more people to see it, even if they don't normally follow the hashtag. It just might bring it up because they've been liking posts with similar tags as well. So the rules with how to use hashtags. So you don't want to overuse hashtag, as they can take up space in the description. So it can look messy. Plus, more isn't always helpful. It just hinders it. You want to think about, on average, between 5 to 10 hashtags, most likely on social media. I've heard some social media platforms say you want to have up to 15 hashtags. It is up to you. But our rule of thumb is usually between 5 to 10, and you can have that like consistent ones as well. So Team Dave will always put hashtag Teams 3683 on anything we post that is related to the team. So it connects all of our posts together. And you also want to research ahead of time. So you want to see what other people are using. So see what's popular, because there can be a huge difference between hashtag New Year 2021 and then hashtag New Year 21 in terms of which one's more popular with people at the time. And it's a lot easier with that in terms of Instagram, because if you're typing in that hashtag, it'll pop up what they think you should put or your recent tags. And you can see how many posts there are, but do that research, do look into it a little bit, just to make sure you are optimizing what you're posting out there. And then quickly, really briefly, additional tools. So you can always use Giphy. So Giphy is where you see GIFs. So GIFs can add posts to, can be added to posts that don't always require a certain media. So think about some tweets or your Instagram stories. What you can do is you can create a profile in Giphy, and you can create specific GIFs for your needs. So you can customize ones for your team. You can just make some fun ones that you're just not popping up. So if you look at hashtag first in Giphy, there will be some teams that have created ones so their team pops up when you think about first. So it's actually pretty fun. And then there's also a boomerang video. So this is an additional app, much like the layouts app, which is an additional thing. So it's just like layouts app was very popular when multiple photos weren't allowed to be chosen in Instagram, and it can be used still. It just gives you a little bit more variety and a little bit more control over how you're arranging your photos outside of what Instagram allows. And it's the same thing with the boomerang video. So it can help you take your boomerang game up by a notch by providing other features such as a little bit of editing. It also all depends on if it's useful, and it depends on what you're trying to do with that boomerang video. Do you need that extra or do you not? And then there are obviously a lot more out there in terms of tools. So I encourage you to just go have a look, try things out, see if it'll work for your team, see if it won't. And it's just up in the air for that. So I did go a little over time. I do apologize. There's a lot to say on this topic. And then next week, we'll be talking about photos, so Adobe Spark and Photopea demos, and we will also be talking about the importance of editing graphics and images. So thank you guys so much, and I hope I didn't talk too fast. I hope you guys liked it. Again, if you have any questions, comment them on YouTube. You can send a message to WWFIRST on social media, and we will try to answer them as soon as possible.
Yep. And if you have any questions and you're on Discord, you can always post on Discord. So.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Barb. It's awesome.
Thank you.